Firstly, Mr. Gates, thank you so much for that incredible clarity of thought. It was really insightful. We learned a lot. Thank you for your charity. Firstly, that's I think the world's a better place because of that. So I think if we can give one sort of acknowledgement. And I think thank you for your optimism that you painted. You were right in putting the asterisks because that was as a news person coming in my mind as you were speaking. So thank you for the optimism. I guess, I think my question is, what are the obstacles to making this all happen? Is technology the obstacle? Is it resources? Is it just human focus, human will, political will, human focus? What's that one thing that you think is sort of holding us back to make these innovations happen faster? Because certainly the problems are only, getting larger and larger.
Well, we certainly have a challenge that the places where you have the resources and the ability to, give money or help use science to solve these problems is often very distant from where the problem is. So for example, the suffering of malaria, if the people literally who live near you, were the ones who were having those problems, you would probably buy bed nets for them. And you would try and advocate for a research program to bring that horrible disease to an end, which hopefully we will. Even within India, the places with the toughest challenge are far away from where you have the most sophistication. I'd always hoped that the digital tools would essentially shrink distance and make us understand what people are doing and have more humanity. And we've seen some of that. We've also seen that you get to kind of draw in to your own ideas. And so it's also been a force for polarization. And you have this struggle of, does it make us more find what's going wrong with our fellow man and see what's going well? Or do we just, go into often some non-factual dead ends that sort of pit people against each other?
So you are acknowledging that there are conflicts globally. I mean, in solving these issues, there are very real conflicts. I mean, I live in Mumbai. We were just discussing that. I don't think any major city in the world is building a metro in the year 2023, right? Building a metro from scratch. So we are, we need to do this. We have to invest in that. Do you think the solutions, therefore, will be much more localized and customized to India's needs, or will they be global solutions then?
Well, it'll certainly be a mix. I mean, the really key technologies like the green way of making cement, the green way of making steel, can you power jet planes with hydrogen instead of with hydrocarbons? Those technologies will get invented and competed on a very global basis. There's not a country that's not talking about green hydrogen as something that they want to bring into their economy because it actually solves a lot of these different climate things. But the path you go about it will have to be local. So for example, this grid, this gigantic green grid, for India, you're actually kind of blessed because you have a fair bit of wind, a fair bit of solar, and so you'll solve it in a certain way. For a country like Japan, it's very difficult. They don't have the same land mass. And so hopefully for them, some form of nuclear will be both economic and safe and acceptable for them. Because otherwise, they kind of face a dilemma. Do they want to depend on other countries for their energy supply? But to be green is a particular challenge that varies country by country. The US is very lucky. We're a gigantic country. And so even if the wind's not blowing in the Midwest, it's blowing somewhere. Even if it's not sunny in one location, it's sunny somewhere. So if we build a big enough grid, we can draw, and actually we trust Canada enough to make it more of a North American project instead of just the United States.
The problems that we're talking about and that we're facing, do you ever think about the fact that, a lot of it is coming from a vision of development, a vision of life, a picture, and that was kind of painted by the West. So, especially when you talk about India, you have people who say that, we've been actually living a fairly sustainable life. I mean, our lifestyle is fairly sustainable in India. But the ambition, the American dream, which is now the world's dream, it's all of our dreams. That picture got painted somewhere in the West. Do you think about that fact that maybe?
Well, I don't think we can count on people living a impoverished lifestyle as a solution to climate.
Right.
And yes, meat consumption in India will be less. That's good for your health. That's wonderful. Will all Indians become vegetarians? Will all Americans become vegetarians? I wouldn't want to count on it. Anybody who wants to evangelize that, they're welcome to. I won't resist in any way. And so yes, in climate movements, you can kind of get this, hey, we've been consuming too much, and hey, maybe we shouldn't travel anymore. Reducing demand in the rich countries, the US in particular, we could use half as much energy per person. But if we said to India to stay at your current level, that would be completely unjust.
Yes.
And so most of the demand for more energy, more cement, more steel is coming from middle-income countries like India, where even if you stop at, say, a quarter of American energy intensity, the climate change is very, very dramatic.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not saying, hey, consume as much as possible, but we ought to give people that option. Take, for example, air conditioning.
Yes.
If you're tough, don't buy air conditioning. It's good for the climate if you, sleep in hot weather. But as India gets warmer and warmer, I'm betting the demand for air conditioning is going to skyrocket. The country that has the most air conditioning by far is the United States. Even Europe doesn't have what we have. And so as it gets hotter, you demand more electricity, which if it's not green, then you're in a positive feedback loop.
Sure. And all the innovations that are going to solve these problems that we've spoken about, a lot of them, I mean, such lovely examples you've dug out from India itself. But there is this kind of idea, this thought that the innovation, there is one sort of realm of the school of thought which says that you need to incentivize innovation, you need to incentivize R&D, and so make it commercially viable for people to invest time and effort in R&D. And there's an opposing school of thought which says, once you've invented something, which is going to solve the world's problems, share it. Don't be exploitative. Don't be, don't make it expensive. Especially in healthcare, this comes up a lot. What's your prescription for that sharing of technology that's going to help the world?
Well, in healthcare, we do have a solution that's kind of ideal, which is that the return that allows drug companies to have profit comes to them primarily from their sales in the rich countries and somewhat from middle-income countries. And that for lower-income countries, the price should be just what it costs to make the medicine. In fact, because these countries either don't enforce the patents or people don't even file the patents, and now the pharmaceutical companies understand the expectations. So, the foundation has helped create a patent pooling mechanism. And we were talking to the generic drug manufacturers here in India who go to that and actually make incredibly low-cost medicines. And so, we help them. Their profit margins are low enough